Greetings, my peeps, and welcome to the All Things Basketball Podcast with your boy GD. In this episode, my conference finals preview. We'll go through all four teams that's left, and then, of course, we will talk about the teams that got knocked out and what they'll be doing next going forward in the offseason. So all that and more. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, guys, it's your boy GD back with the All Things Basketball with GD podcast. And guys, it's getting to the home stretch, guys. You have the conference finals coming up, and then, of course, your NBA finals. So, a lot of riveting basketball that's going to take place. So, of course, this is the exciting time of the year. With that going on, the WNBA in full swing. So you have that basketball taking place as well. So I will get into the conference finals preview. And then from there, once we talk about each of the series, we will talk about those teams left, on the outside looking in. So there you go. All right, with all of that said, let's get down to it. So we will start in the West, guys. In the West, it ended up chalk, guys. You have the number one seed, the Oklahoma City Thunder, taking on the number two seed, the San Antonio Spurs. This is the matchup that everybody was salivating for in the West. And lo and behold, you now have it. In the season series, the Spurs took three out of the four games. So they went 3-1, guys. So it seems like they match up very well with this Thunder team. So I think it's going to be a tough one. But let us talk about how OKC got here. They got here by sweeping the fourth seed, the Los Angeles Lakers, guys. And I think to any fan that knows something about basketball, you knew the Lakers were just a lamb for the slaughter, pretty much. And it turned out, they couldn't even get a game off them. So OKC starts out in Oklahoma City, and they get game one and game two there, 108-90. And then the second game, 125-107. Thus, the scene shifts to the Cryptos arena over there in LA. OKC, they take game three, 131-108. And then you had your game four, which was actually a closer game, guys. So the Lakers had some fight in them, but when all is said and done, OKC prevails, 115-110. In the series, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing what he does, guys. 24.5 points per game, over 6 assists for him. And then you have AJ Mitchell. Now, remember, Jalen Williams missed that series with the hamstring injury, so he didn't play in the series at all. Thus, AJ Mitchell, he was started by Coach Mark Daigneault. And I tell you what, the young man showed improved. 22.5 points he averaged in the series, along with 6 assists. So you talk about stepping up when they call your number. AJ Mitchell did just that, guys. Chet Holmgren, he averaged 20 points in this series, nearly 10 rebounds. So he averaged nearly a double as far as that goes. And then on the other side, for the Lakers, LeBron James leading the way. Now, you know you're a team in trouble when you're hanging your hat on a 41-year-old to lead you through a series. But that's the way it shook out, guys. No Luka Doncic in the entire series. So LeBron led the way, over 23 points per game, 6 rebounds, and nearly 6 assists. So, I mean, what more could he do besides that? Austin Reeves, he does okay in the series, nearly 21 points per game, nearly 7 assists, and over 4 rebounds for him. Rui Hachimura really stepped up, all things considered. Averaged 20 points in this series, guys. 20 points per game, along with 4 rebounds. Then you have DeAndre Ayton. This guy, man. You needed him to show up in some capacity, and he did not do that. Over 7 points per game and nearly 8 rebounds. And he had the nerve, the audacity to, prior to game 4, he had this gold chain, and the nameplate on there said domination. It was like a play on words, with the H Shun being Ayton, as in his last name. And I'm like, man, listen, you could have threw that in the trash. The jeweler should have looked at you and said, you sure you want this? You sure you want this kind of chain? I mean, come on. What are we even doing? That you might as well have burnt that money. Just throw it in the fireplace and burn it. So, but I digress. But he was a no-show. He was a no-show, guys. So you're not going to get it done with those type of numbers. So with all of that said, that's how OKC got here. We'll talk about the Lakers more when I do my wrap up of them. How did San Antonio get here? Well, they played a tough series, guys. They played a series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, the 6th seed, and they prevailed, guys, 4-2. And crazy enough, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they take game 1 in San Antonio. So people are like, oh boy, it's going to be some series. You take the first game on their home court, and a close one too, 104-102. Then you have game 2, where San Antonio rights the ship, and they get their get back, 133-95. Thus setting up the stage, heading to Minnesota to play there. Game 3, San Antonio takes that, 115-108. And then you have game 4, which I thought was a critical game in this series, because San Antonio could steal 2 on their floor. That would have been something. But what happens in the game? Victor Wembanyama throws this vicious elbow at Naz Reid, and so much so, after a review, he was given a flagrant 2. And you know what that means, guys. You're out of here. He was ejected from the game, and I think that there turned the tide for Minnesota. They would go on to win game 4, 114-109. Thus, setting up San Antonio heading back home for game 5, where it's knotted up 2-2, guys. And San Antonio said, you know what? Let's put foots in them. The fact that we were without Wembanyama. And now remember, with that flagrant 2, the league had an option here. They could have suspended him for game 5. They could have fined him for his actions. They did neither one. No fine, no suspension, which I was going to say I'm surprised, but I think the league looked at it and said, this is a first time offense for him. So we're going to give him a slap on the wrist, if you will. So he plays game 5 and they crush him 126-97, thus setting up a game 6 in Minnesota. And again, San Antonio came out guns blazing and absolutely put a spank on them. 139-109. And with that, game 6. Here's the controversy now. In the fourth quarter, with 8 minutes to go, Anthony Edwards, who, oh, by the way, he came into this series not 100% healthy. You remember he had the injury in the Nugget series. So he wasn't completely himself. So 8 minutes left and San Antonio crushing them at home. He goes over to the San Antonio bench while they're in the huddle and he goes and congratulate these guys and, wish them the best for the next round or what have you. And of course, all your ex-players in the media, starting with the guys on Amazon, their in-studio show there, Dirk Nowitzki, he said he has never seen anything like that in his 20 years of playing basketball. And I'm like, wow. So he's never seen anything like that. Blake Griffin said the same thing. That was a bit odd. But Udonis Haslem, also Steve Nash as well. But Udonis Haslem, he had some pointed words for Anthony Edwards. He said, that's not leadership. It's a bad look. All those sort of things. So you have that camp of guys saying that. You had others who are ex-athletes. In fact, Ryan Clark, he even talked about it on his show, on his podcast. So, a lot of ex-athletes were puzzled by it. Where I come down on it, it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Would I have done that with so much time left in the game? Probably not. I would have waited until, the end or, as the clock was winding down and I go over and congratulate. 8 minutes in the game does seem a bit odd, but would I have done that? No, I wouldn't have done that. I would have kind of waited towards the end a bit. But, now if he had gone the other way and just went in the locker room, ex-athletes would have killed him over that. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I won't go crazy over it. I know this guy is a gamer. Everybody knows this guy is a gamer. So he's not a guy who will quit on his team. So I give him a pass. So there you go there. All right. So for the series, Stephon Castle had a fine series for them, averaging 20 points per game, over 6 assists, nearly 6 rebounds. So solid all around. Victor Wembanyama doing Wemby things, nearly 20 points per game, 12 rebounds, and over 4 blocks, guys. I mean, he was putting in that work. De'Aaron Fox had a solid series as well. Nearly 18 points per game, 5 assists for him. Anthony Edwards, again, led the way for them. Nearly 24 points per game. Didn't shoot it sensationally, but again, he was dealing with his injury, toughing it out in this series. Averaging 5 rebounds as well. Julius Randle, As a Knicks fan, I've seen this story before. Uh, Averaging 13 points per game, not what you want from your number two guy, and nearly 8 rebounds. Definitely not what you want from him. And Rudy Gobert, remember, he played the sensational defense on the Joker in the previous round. I thought him knowing Victor Wembanyama, both being Frenchmen, both, you know, playing on the same team, internationally, I thought maybe that would give him a slight edge, him being the veteran and all, but that wasn't the case, guys. Nearly 7 points per game, 8 rebounds, and a singular block he averaged per game. So there you go there. So that is how San Antonio got there. Now the matchups. I think Shai Gilgeous Alexander versus Stephon Castle. I think that. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened there. Uh, yeah, I think that matchup is going to be all eyes will be pointed on that matchup. That's for sure. So there you go. There. Also, Isaiah Hartenstein, more likely than not, he will be facing a Victor Wembanyama. I think it'll be him. I think it'll also be Chet Holmgren. You'll see a little bit of him there as well. So there is that. Also, it's been confirmed, guys. Okay, guys, we are back. Had some technical difficulty. Can't get the background there, so we'll just deal with what we're dealing with here. So there you go. Anyhow, you have Jalen Williams, like I said, fresh off his hamstring injury that kept him out the previous series against the Lakers. Now you have him in this series here. Go on. And he'll probably be matched up with a Julian Champagny. So that probably be the matchup there. And then I'm looking at the bench guys. OKC's bench, which is very deep. You got AJ Mitchell going back to the bench, along with guys like Isaiah Joe, the other Jalen Williams, the guy who's a big. He can play the 4 or the 5. Also, Alex Caruso, you know him, grizzled, tough veteran. Also, Casey Wallace and Jarrett McCain, who the Sixers pretty much gave away to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that's their bench versus San Antonio's bench, which had Keldon Johnson along with Derek Harper, Keldon Johnson. Oh, by the way, your 6th man of the year. Dylan Harper, the sensational rookie. Luke Cornett, who can back up Wemby in a pinch. Harrison Barnes, their longtime veteran, and another rookie in Carter Bryant as well. So the matchup, the benches should be interesting as well, guys. My prediction: I'm going with the champs, Oklahoma City Thunder in 7. But I tell you what, it's going to be a tough series because of how well the San Antonio Spurs match up against these guys. So I think it could go either way, but I'm going to say um, OKC will get it done in a 7 game uh, in their building. So I'm going with the Thunder. All right, guys, let us move on. The New York Knicks, my New York Knicks, the 3 seed, taking on the 4th seed, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, guys, as far as the season series goes, the Knicks took 2 games out of the 3 games, so they went 2-1. Mind you, the 2 wins were prior to them getting James Harden. So, and they last played in on February 24th. That's after they acquired James Harden and they got the win there. So, I'd say both teams look very different now as far as how they run things as opposed to that February 24th meeting. So, but let's talk about how the Knicks got here. The Knicks took care of business, sweeping the number 7 seed, the Philadelphia 76ers. A lot of people were, worried, hand wringing because, this 76ers team took down the 2 seed, the Boston Celtics. So everybody was nervous. But the Knicks played their game. They played their game. And what helped them that game 1 came 2 days after the Sixers knocked off the Celtics in that grueling 7 game series. So the Knicks come out and throw a haymaker game 1, 137-98, a game where Brunson did Brunson things, guys. He dropped 35 points in that one. Moving to a game 2 with no Embiid in this one. Embiid, they sat him out for this one. So, but this was a close one. They came to play. Both games were in the Garden, by the way, game 1 and game 2. But the Knicks pull it out, 108-102. In that game, guys, Brunson again leading the way with 26 points, 8 assists. OG Anunoby with 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 steals. But late in that 4th quarter, he pulls his hamstring. He's out the rest of the game, guys. And then Karl-Anthony Towns with an all-around performance, 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists for the Cat Band. So, with that said, guys, you have now no Anunoby. They decided Mike Brown in the upper management with the Knicks said, look, we'll hold OG out for game 4, game 5. If the series goes beyond that, then we'll think about bringing them back. So they erred on the side of caution. So, but it just so happens didn't have to do that. Game 3 in Philadelphia, a game 3 that I watched with my peoples there, Knicks Omni fan, the ladies there, Jen and Jasmine. They do an excellent job with their watch party. They had it at Hill Country Barbecue, downtown Manhattan. It was fantastic. They do a bang up job, and it was great being in the atmosphere with fellow Knicks fans, watching and enjoying the game, especially when it's a victory, which it was, guys, 108-94. So they get the victory in Philly, and in that game, once again, Jalen Brunson doing what he does, 33 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Mikal Bridges, I tell you what, he has come to life since the Atlanta series, like after game 3, he seemed to come to life. So, and he's showed up here, 23 points. And on the other side, Kelly Oubre with 22 points and 8 rebounds. And then in game 4, again, the Knicks just jumped right on them, guys. The big story, Deuce McBride. He was absolutely sensational from long range. 25 points, 7 threes he shot in that game. I mean, he could not miss. Also, Karl Anthony Towns, 17 points and 10 assists. Jalen Brunson, a quiet 22 points with 6 assists. And Joel Embiid, oddly enough, he was perfect from the field, guys. 8 for 8 from the field and 2 for 2 from 3-point range as well. He finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, but too little, too late for the Sixers, and the Knicks prevail in that series. Overall in the series, guys, Jalen Brunson averaged 29 points per game, 6 assists. You love seeing those type of numbers. Karl Anthony Towns, again, he has expanded his game in the playoffs, guys. 15.5 points per game, 8 rebounds, 7.5 assists. I mean, all around basketball from him. Mikal Bridges, guys, 17.5 points per game. You love to see that. 3.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. So, fantastic series for him. So, there's that. On the other side, and you got to give him credit too, he was able to keep Tyrese Maxey at bay. In fact, Maxey only averaged above 18 points per game, which is well under his season average, and nearly 5 assists. Joel Embiid, remember he played 3 of the 4 games, just shy of 19 points per game, and 5 rebounds is what he averaged in the series. I mean, he couldn't even, battle on the boards. Paul George, 14.5 points per game. Mind you, he had a sensational series against Boston, but the Knicks kept him at bay as well. And mind you, in game 3, he started out hot. He scored 15 points in the first half. They shut him down in the second half. So there you go there. But the Knicks prevail in that series. Let us move on. Cleveland. How did Cleveland get here? Well, they pulled the upset, guys. They beat the number 1 seed, the Detroit Pistons, in a 7-game grueling series, guys. They get the victory there. And this is how the series went. Game 1 and Game 2 goes to the number 1 seed, the Detroit Pistons. They get the first 2 in Detroit, 111-101. Game 2, 107-97. Thus setting the stage for Game 3 in Cleveland, where Cleveland would get the win on that night. And they get the victory 116-109, guys. Thus setting up Game 4 in Cleveland, where they get the win there, 112-103. Setting up the crucial Game 5, where in Detroit, Cleveland gets the overtime win, guys, 117-113. Thus setting the stage for heading to Cleveland, where they can close the deal on their home floor. That did not happen. Detroit gets the win on the road, 115-94. And then Game 7 in Detroit, home court advantage. That's what you get it for. But that wasn't to be for Detroit. Cleveland just pounding them. And the final score, 125-94. In the series, Donovan Mitchell, absolutely spectacular, averaging over 28 points per game, over 5.5 rebounds, and over 3.5 assists for him, giving them exactly what they needed. James Harden, he averaged over 19.5 points, but he was horrendous from the field and even worse from three, guys. But hey, they were able to overcome that. So he's a high volume shooter, so you know that's in his repertoire. Average over 6 assists per game and over 5 rebounds for him. So there you go there. And then Evan Mobley had a nice all around two-way series, nearly 16 points per game, almost 7.5 rebounds, nearly 5 assists, and oh, by the way, over 2.5 blocks and a steal and a half per game for Mobley. And then on the other side, Cade Cunningham, listen, he did the best he could. Nearly 24 points per game, just a shade under 8 assists and over 4.5 rebounds. Tobias Harris, who had the fantastic series prior to this, playing the Orlando Magic. In this one, not so much. Uh, for, just above 14.5 points per game for him. And then also uh, over 6 rebounds. Jalen Duren, I don't know what the deal with him is. He didn't have a good series against the Magic, and he doesn't have one here. Just under 10 points per game and above 7.5 rebounds, guys. That's not going to get it done. So there you go there. Matchups. Jalen Brunson versus James Harden. I love this matchup for the Knicks. I think Jalen Brunson can have his way with Harden in this series, so I like that matchup. Mikal Bridges versus Donovan Mitchell. I think the job Mikal has done in these playoffs, holding down CJ McCollum after he had that explosion in game 2 at the Garden. He pretty much held him at bay after that. Him holding Donovan is going to be critical in this series, guys. And I think you'll see some of Deuce McBride on him. You'll see some Josh Hart on him. I think they'll throw him a variety of looks. So slowing down Donovan Mitchell is critical for the Knicks to succeed in this series. Karl Anthony Towns versus a Jared Allen. That should be an interesting match inside there with Cat's all around game now. Um, that should be a sight to see. And OG Anunoby, who's back now for the Knicks. They said he's going to be ready for game 1. Him versus Evan Mobley. That's the matchup I'm looking at right there. I think the guy who gets the advantage there, that team will win the series. So, with that said, my prediction. I'm going to go Knicks. I was going to say 5, but I'm going to kind of give Cleveland their respect, being that they knocked down the 1 seed. I'll say Knicks in 6. I don't think they push it to 7. I think they can go into Cleveland and take care of business and get out of there with a victory. So I'm going Knicks in 6, guys. So there you go. And also, the bench for the Knicks have to continue to hit on all cylinders. You got guys like Landry Shamet, who had a fine series. Deuce McBride, I just talked about him. Also, you have Mitchell Robinson, who, he had his moments. They tried to do the hack a Mitch, but overall, he was a presence inside. You got guys like Jose Alvarado coming in a pinch. So they got a bench there. They got a bench that they can go to. So Jordan Clarkson as well. So it's going to be interesting for them. So I say that bench has to prevail in this series. So there you go there. All right, guys. So now we turn our attention to the teams that did not make it. So we will start with Philadelphia, the 76ers, who got swept by the Knicks. As far as they go, Daryl Morey out as the president and the guy in the front office making all the moves. He is out, guys. So we'll see who they bring in. Uh, they've been getting consulted. Who's been consulted? From Golden State. Hang on one second. Sorry to do this to y'all. Bob Myers, yes. Bob Myers has been consulting them as far as that goes. And a lot of people are saying, I've heard Stephen A say, why don't you just give the job to Bob Myers? Does he want the job? That's the whole thing. I mean, being a consultant is one thing, being the guy is another. But we've seen his handiwork over there in Golden State. So maybe this is not the job Bob Myers wants. Maybe he wants somewhere where he can build from the ground up. So yeah. So I don't see Bob Myers wanting that job. That you may ask why? Because you got three players consuming the bulk of your salary cap space. Between Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey, next year on the books, between the three of them, over $154 million. Wow. That's a lot of dough. And mind you, their salary cap is at 172. Well, just a shade under 173 million. So you're talking about those three guys taking up all but 20 million, less than. It's not good. And add on top of that, Joel Embiid disappointment with the front office after they traded Jared McCain. I just told you about him. He's in OKC now. He didn't like that trade at all because they got pennies on the dollar back from him for a young guard who can actually play both guard positions. So I understand his disappointment there, but yeah, that's how it goes. As far as free agents, guys, Quentin Grimes, he's a free agent for them guys. He made 8.7 million. He's going to see some big time money in free agency. Kelly Oubre as well, making 8.3 million. I think that's a steal at that price for him. Andre Drummond making 5 million. Does he come back again? We'll see. Dominic Barlow, he has a team option for 3.4 million. I believe they bring him back. Kyle Lowry, I think he's heading for greener pastures. He's ready to retire, so I don't see him coming back. I see him retiring and probably taking a assistant coach job. Trendon Walford, he has a team option as well at 2.8 million. They exercised that. He's been a good piece coming off your bench. And then Cam Payne, I don't even know what happened to him. I remember they signed him 1.1 million. So I don't know what happens with him. So there you go there. So let us continue on. the Detroit Pistons. Now, Detroit, they're actually in a good place, guys. They overachieved. They overachieved all season long, guys. But they have major free agent decisions. But on the good side, they have a lot of cap space. Mind you, they're going to have to dedicate money to Jalen Duren if you're going to bring him back. Uh, you know, he's coming off an all-star campaign. You can kind of toss to the side what happened in the playoffs and say, this is kind of his, he's still like getting his feet wet as far as that goes. This is the second go around in the playoffs, so you can kind of give him a pass if you like, but you're gonna have to sign him to long-term money. So right now on the books for them next season, $104.3 million. So they got the space, guys. They'll be able to add some pieces here. Now in free agency, Tobias Harris, his money's coming off the books, 26.6 billion. That's a big chunk of money there that's coming off. Do they bring him back? You know, he gave you flashes of what he can do in the prior series against Orlando, but against the Cavaliers, not so much. So, do you bring him back at a feasible number? We'll see. Kevin Herter is another guy making nearly $18 million. So, do you bring him back? You have a team option for Osar Thompson. Now, Osar Thompson was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, so a vital piece to your team, making 11.1 million. You'll bring him back at that number. Ron Holland, he has a team option at 9 million. I think he comes back. And then Jalen Duren, he has a qualifying offer, guys, at 8.9 million. So you're going to have to negotiate big time with him and figure out where the market is with him. Dennis Jenkins. Now, this is a guy, he has a team option at 4 billion. They will exercise that with ease. He was a guy who's come in. Remember when Cade Cunningham, he went down with the collapsed lung. This guy has come in and stepped in and played well. So they're going to bring him back. Uh, Marcus Sasser, another guy with a team option, over 5 million. They bring him back as well. He was a vital piece for them down the stretch. And then you have Javonte Green at 2.8 million. So he's flat out free agent. So you can make a decision there. But Detroit's in good shape, guys. They're in good shape. Like I said, you have space to add pieces in to what you have already, a 62 win ball club. You add some pieces in, I think you'll do just fine. JB Bickerstaff has done a fine job, all things considered. So I wouldn't touch a thing. I would just tweak the roster a bit and come back for next season. So that's Detroit. The LA Lakers, and the saga continues. Is this LeBron's last season in LA? Now, there's been rumblings, guys, about LeBron and, how he's feeling underappreciated in LA. There's a lot of that talk going around. In fact, I want to play some sound for you guys. This is Dave McMenamin. He was on Rich Eisen's show, and he talked about it, guys. He talked about the situation with LeBron. You remember, he was following him all season long. So remember, he was around for a lot of this, what was taking place with LeBron. So he's on Rich Eisen, like I said, and he explains the situation with the game ball. It was on March 31st. Okay. Hang on 1 second.
First things first is, why aren't there more than one game ball?
It's a good question.
Wouldn't that have been great?
Yeah.
You know, hey,
Some foresight there.
I understand. Like this is, this would be like, we're giving away cards. You get a game ball. But there were so many milestones.
Yeah. So we're talking about March 31st.
Yes, sir.
Lakers beat the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
It completes what ends up, we don't know, at this point, in retrospect, they've now gone 16-2 over a 32-day stretch. And in this game against the Cavs, LeBron James, most wins in NBA history combined, regular season.
And against the Cavs.
Right? Mm-hmm. 15,000 points for Luka Doncic for his career, 5,000 points for Rui Hachimura. And it secures back-to-back 50-win seasons and 100 wins in J.J. Redick's coaching career. So in the post-game locker room, J.J. Redick doing a good job and kind of recognizing this group accomplishment is listing off all the things that were done by his team that day.
Mm-hmm.
And as J.J.'s addressing the room, Rob Pelinka takes his turn to address the room, is holding the game ball, and presents it to J.J. Redick. Shortly thereafter, LeBron James, who, of course, he arrives to the arena wearing like an outfit and then showers and changes and stuff and leaves in that outfit. Well, this night was still in the practice shorts, ice bags on his knees, slide sandals on his feet.
And he walked right out.
Walks out. So to be clear, this isn't because he doesn't think J.J. Redick is deserving of a moment. It's not about that at all.
Yes.
It was taken by LeBron to be another example of the Lakers not appreciating him and everything that he does.
Where does that come from?
I think it's from an 8-year relationship that has had a lot of stuff build up. Now, I asked LeBron after Game 4 against the Thunder, in order for you to come back to play for the Lakers, I understand you're going to have to figure out whether you want to play. I understand you're going to have to both sides want to figure out what the money. But that aside, is there any static that needs to be cleared up? And he said, there's no static from me. March 31st.
Yes, sir.
Lakers beat the Cavs. Mm-hmm. It completes what ends up, we don't know, but at this point, in retrospect, they've now gone 16-2 over a 32-day stretch. And in this game against the Cavs, LeBron James, most wins in NBA history combined, regular season.
And against the Cavs,
right? 15,000 points for Luka Doncic for his career, 5,000 points for Rui Hachimura. And it secures back-to-back 50-win seasons and 100 wins in J.J. Redick's coaching career. So in the post-game locker room, J.J. Redick doing a good job and recognizing this group accomplishment is listing off all the things that were done by his team that day.
Mm-hmm.
And as JJ's addressing the room, Rob Pelinka takes his turn to address the room, is holding the game ball, and presents it to J.J. Redick. Shortly thereafter, LeBron James, who, of course, he arrives to the arena wearing like an outfit and then showers and changes and stuff and leaves in that outfit. Well, this night was still in the practice shorts, ice bags on his knees, slide sandals on his feet.
And he walked right out.
Walks out. So to be clear, this isn't because he doesn't think J.J. Redick is deserving of a moment. It's not about that at all.
Yes.
It was taken by LeBron to be another example of the Lakers not appreciating him and everything that he does.
Where does that come from?
I think it's from an 8-year relationship that has had a lot of stuff build up. Now, I asked LeBron after Game 4 against the Thunder, in order for you to come back to play for the Lakers, I understand you're going to have to figure out whether you want to play. I understand you're going to have to both sides want to figure out what the money. But that aside, is there any static that needs to be cleared up? And he said, there's no static from me. Perhaps that means that even though he had this moment, that was a real moment of big indignation is what he felt.
Yeah.
It's not something he can't get over in order to keep playing for the Lakers.
Right.
So that's a little bit of what was said by Dave McMenamin to Rich Eisen. So my take on all this, Yeah, I think there is a feeling of LeBron being underappreciated. And not just with this. Remember, I had reported earlier in the season about the comments made by Jeannie Buss, where, you know, she didn't like the idea of the fact that when LeBron came, he saved the franchise and all this sort of stuff. Um, she didn't like that at all. So that, she's been trying to make it seem like that's not the case. But they've done everything, just about everything LeBron wanted. You know, when it was time to bring in talent, they brought in talent. They brought they drafted his son, all that sort of stuff. And still with all that, LeBron doesn't feel appreciated. So I don't know what to tell you. Um, but the Lakers got some big decisions to make. Um, First, you got to figure out the situation with Austin Reeves as far as the contract extension goes there. They too have a lot of money that they can spend. The salary cap for next year right now stands at $106.5 million. Your free agents are LeBron. He's a straight up free agent, no team option, no player option. He made $52.6 million. Does he come back at a lower number in order to, enable the Lakers to bring in other pieces? We'll see. Rui Hachimura, he made 18.2 million. I think if he goes on the open market, he's going to double that. Um, he had a fine showing in these playoffs between the Rocket series and the series here with the Thunder, albeit they got swept, but he played well. So I think he's going to command some money. Austin Reeves, he has a qualifying offer of 14.8 million. So you're going to have to renegotiate with him, give him a contract extension, you would think. And then Luke Kennard, who did a fine job stepping in for Reeves, he's at $11 million. Maxi Kleber, I don't know if you bring him back. He's at 11 as well. DeAndre Ayton. Now I spoke about him and how he disappointed in this last series. He has a qualifying offer of 8.1 million. Do you bring him back at that number, given his inconsistencies? Um, I think you got to figure out what's out there as far as your centers go, and what you can bring in. But I don't know. If I had to guess today, I think they would bring him back because they have no other choice. But if they had their choice, they would bring somebody else in. I think so. Marcus Smart has a qualifying offer at 5.3 million. I think they bring him back. I think he's had a renaissance here with the Lakers, so I think they bring him back. And then Jackson Hayes at 3.4 million. More likely than not, maybe he comes back. So Lakers with a lot to think about. And then the last team I'll talk about, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they're in need of a roster shakeup, guys. And I think it happens between Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, I think at his age, at his salary, he'll be very hard to move. I think Julius Randle, that's the move that's possible, guys. Julius Randle set to make 36.5 million next year, and then he has a player option at 38. This is the trade I'm looking at, guys, if I'm the Minnesota Timberwolves. Julius Randle, Terrence Shannon Jr. I understand he played very well for you, but he has value. And some second rounders, maybe about 2 or 3 second rounders, maybe 2 in a second round swap. That's enough to get it done to bring in a Zion Williamson, from the New Orleans Pelicans. I think this would be an ideal situation for Zion. He doesn't have to be the guy. he can be the number 2 to Anthony Edwards. I think that would do wonders for him in this situation here. It's high risk though if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, but it's also high reward if you can get this guy. It seemed like his health he's come out on the other side as far as that goes. So that's possible. I don't see a Giannis move that they can make there because remember, Giannis makes much more money than Zion Williamson. So I don't see that unless you're throwing in first round picks along with Julius Randle going to Milwaukee. I don't see it. I don't see Giannis going there, but I could see a Zion Williamson going there. So I'm putting it out there, guys. So we'll see. But I think they want to get out of the Julius Randle business. So there you go there. All right. So their salary cap, $188.8 million. So they got some substantial money on the books. As far as free agents go, Oye Dosunmu, their addition that they got from the Chicago Bulls at the trade deadline played very well for them, making $7.5 million. That number gets bumped up. Joe Ingles, I think he's on his way out. I think retirement is on the horizon for him at $3.6 million. Bones Highland, possibly you bring him back. He made $2.4 million. Julian Phillips has a team option at $2.4 million. And then you have a Mike Connolly, who, remember, he got traded and then he came back, $1.1 million. So you have him. And then Kyle Anderson, who didn't even make $1 million. He made $898,000. So another option for you to bring back. But I think the T-Wolves are heading for a shakeup in the offseason. So there you go. Speaking of the New Orleans Pelicans, congrats to them. They signed Jamahl Mosley, who was just fired by the Orlando Magic. 5-year deal for him. I think this is a nice landing spot for him. What New Orleans does as far as changing the face of that franchise, I think, like I said, I don't think Zion Williamson and Javonte Murray, I don't think both of these guys are on the roster. I think either one of them goes or both goes. So I'm just saying. So keep an eye out for that in the offseason. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. As always, all things basketball with GD.com is the website. There you find my clips, my full episodes. Donate, guys. Donate. I got 3 buttons on the website. PayPal, buy me a coffee, Spotify, donate. In the scroll, you will find my Cash App, $GD, that's Sports Do, $GD, that's Sports Do. Right to the show, guys. All things basketball GD at Outlook.com. Right to the show. Whatever ideas, whatever comments you have to make, I'll read them on the show. Also, guys, podcast platforms, I'm on all of those. My YouTube channel as well, where you got clips in. I haven't done clips as recent, but I need to do some. But full episodes are there. Also, guys, social media, TikTok, Instagram, some Blue Sky, some Facebook, and that is it. Guys, next time you hear from me, postseason awards wrap up. I'll go through all the award winners. Got some right, got some not so right. We'll talk about that. And then also, one last news item before I check out. Rickea Jackson, prayers up to her. She tore her ACL in a game on Sunday, May 17th, a game against the Minnesota Lynx. She tore up her knee. She's done for the season, guys. It was a non-contact, so you know how that goes. But prayers up for her, speedy recovery. She's been through a lot this year, guys, so definitely prayers up to her and a swift recovery for her. So there you go. Thanks for listening. As always, we'll talk soon. Take care.